Welcome to session 198 of the MLM Success Podcast. In this session, you will get recruiting secrets and team building insights from the #1 Aplgo recruiter in the world. Welcome to the MLMsuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host who has been called the #1 mind in network marketing, the MLM prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small-town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dale Calvert. I want to thank you for being here for this session 198 of the MLM Success Podcast. I appreciate you being here. So, last Friday, I get a message from one of our team members in Budapest, Hungary, Boris, and he was watching the end of the month European President's State of the Company webinar. Obviously, it was done in a foreign language. He does a State of the Company webinar at the end of each month that I found out. Didn't know anything about that, but he was watching it, and he contacted me, and he was just really excited. He sent me a slide that was in another language, and I didn't understand it, but didn't even understand what the slide was saying. But he said, Dale, you and Don are being recognized as the top recruiters in the world for the month of August. And I thought, oh my goodness. So as many of you know, in August, the best, sincerely guys, people think I'm pitching or I'm just blowing smoke. And I guess those that don't know me well, you'd probably think that. But as I've explained in the previous 2 or 3 weeks podcast, I mean, I was planning my exit and getting my websites lined up for sale in the network marketing business model, and was moving in a completely different direction. And then, honestly, the #1 opportunity that I have seen, not just participated in, but that I have seen in the last 40 years in this profession, dropped in my lap, totally unexpected. And as I've said over the last couple of weeks on this podcast, after doing due diligence, I made the decision, I'm all in on this. The stars don't line up like this very often, and when they do, you've got to be smart enough to see them to the best of your ability, and then to take action and to take massive action. And honestly, I mean, I'm still pinching myself, because I talked to my parents and some very close friends, and a website, one of the largest website brokers in the United States. And, my plan was literally liquidating my websites and putting my time and energy into other business models. And then, like out of nowhere, the very best business model for me dropped in my lap. I mean, I love to build businesses. That's what I enjoy doing. But the best thing that could happen, what I enjoy more than building businesses, is I enjoy building teams. There's nothing that brings me more joy than finding somebody that's sick and tired of being sick and tired, finding people that have untapped potential, and putting them in a culture and an environment with an opportunity where every dream that they have can become a reality if they're willing to do the work. And there's a lot of people that are willing to do the work, but they've just been doing the work, but it's been under the wrong culture or the wrong company at the wrong time in history. They're hard workers, they're loyal, they're dedicated, but when the stars line up, and that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, and you can build a team under those circumstances, there's nothing that I enjoy on a day-to-day basis any more than that. So, I want to talk about how I could get involved with a company that's 8 years old, has over 252,000 distributors in about 30 countries around the world, and get started. And then in my first month, become the number one recruiter in the world, and how I'm beyond confident that I could do it again, but why I won't. And I hope you'll find this interesting. I hope it'll help you on your path. It'll help you kind of understand some of the thought processes behind a lot of the information that many of you have heard me talk about over the years, like 4 beliefs as an example, and several other concepts. And again, this is real world, real live, putting it out there for the whole world to hear and document what's happening right now in my life and on this journey of network marketing. So I'm excited about it because, I'm thinking, maybe my great grandkids will benefit from this someday, and understanding, when this empire is built, it will be valuable to understand the thought process that was happening during the first month and the early days. I'm hoping. I had someone yesterday that joined us, and he said, Dale, I've been lurking on your podcast for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And he said, you just made me madder and madder every week. And finally I just said, you know what? Everything that he's saying is true. And he said, I'm going to jump on this before everybody on my team does, because truth is truth. Reality is reality. And he said, I knew when you were talking about the stars lining up and how this doesn't happen very often. And when it does, you have to recognize it and pivot if you have to. He said, I need to pivot. So again, I know there's others out there listening as well that really need to make that decision. If you do, if you don't, it's not going to affect me at all. It's like I told everybody on our team yesterday in a video that we did privately for our team members. I said, look, I'm going to win regardless. The stars have lined up. I understand what I'm dealing with. I understand what has to be done. I'm going to win. And I believe everybody can win if they decide that they want to win bad enough, and if they're willing to not look at everything that they're seeing through their old traditional. I got involved with a company 7 years old and been grinding glasses, understanding that the trend is your friend. Timing is so critically important. And I'm really kind of shocked at the people that don't understand that concept, because it's not just in network marketing. It's in any business. You have to get in front of the trend. And again, I've talked about this for 20, 30 years. I just believe it. I believe it in any type of business, not just network marketing. So being the number one recruiter in the world was obviously not my goal. I don't think that's a good goal. It was not something that I even knew that the company recognized. I knew we'd had a really good month, an excellent launch. But I had no idea it was coming. I mean, my goal was to work as hard as I could to get our business launched and off the ground. That was my only goal. Get it launched, get it off the ground. And that's something that everybody should think about, and it only comes around once. You only get one chance to launch. And then down the road, maybe 3 years from now, I'll decide I need to do a 90-day run or something. 90-day runs are valuable after you've been around for a few years, but you only get one chance to launch. Now, some people, listen to me, need to quit what you're doing, stop everything, and just relaunch your business. And again, I have a whole webinar on that I talked about, I think, last week. Sometimes you just have to stop and readjust and relaunch, and that's all cool, but there's momentum that can come during the launch phase, and momentum is hard to create, and it's easy to lose. But one of the best times to create momentum is during the launch. That's probably the best time when something is new. And especially when you're launching a company that's only 30 days old in the United States, but has the track record that Aplgo has, it's like the stars lining up. So the analogy I like to use as it relates to launching your business is the airplane. A jet airplane uses all their energy, the majority of their energy, getting the plane off the ground. That's where the energy, the focus. And again, this is so similar because once you get it off the ground, and then if you can create momentum, then at some point you can get to a point where you can literally put it in cruise control, especially if you have enough people on your team that you can delegate to. And again, that goes back to the book we've recommended several times. I recommended it this morning to a gentleman, and that is Leadership in the 1 Minute Manager, where how do you build teams? You direct in the beginning, then you move into a coaching stage, then you move into a support stage, which ultimately you want to get people, leaders, to the point of delegation. You know, I call it handing them the keys to the McDonald's. So over the past 5 years or so since we started doing this podcast and doing some generic webinar trainings, you know, the idea of launching a business was really not talked about 5 years ago. It was kind of days gone by. And thankfully, you're starting to hear people use that term again. You know, some of the gurus that are telling people how to build a business, even though they've never done it, you hear them using the term launch now that weren't using it a few years ago. And I'm very glad that this concept is starting to come back around at some level, even though for a lot of companies, the idea of launching is when you get started with a network marketing company to spam your social media account 4 or 5 times a day. That's kind of the extent of their training. I've been shocked at the number of people that have told me, Dale, the only thing they told me to do was make sure I posted 5 times a day. So, you know, there's a lot more to it than that. You know, and I just think it makes my skin crawl, honestly. And I'm so glad that we don't even want people to post on social media. Don't post the products. Don't post boxes of the products. We want people off social media. And I say we, it's like, well, Dale, I know you would. No, it's the company. The company is so intelligent, so smart. They don't want people posting all over social media. They want people to communicate with people one-on-one, not just posting product pictures out there on social media. And I love that. And I think that's one of the reasons this is growing faster than anything I've ever seen or ever been involved with because of that, because there is no social media posting. So I think that's just as ludicrous of a game plan and is as bad almost as, you know, all the gurus telling everybody they needed to have a blog, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, or way back in the day when the training was order 100 of these Dead Doctors Don't Lie cassettes and buy these mailing lists and mail them out to as many people as you possibly can. And again, I could go on and on and on about the misguided direction that the industry has received over the last 20 years, but I won't. But the truth is, and some of you that are involved with us right now, I hope you really hear what I'm getting ready to say, and a lot of people need to hear this, and that is you only get one chance to launch your business. Or have you launched yet? Because my whole philosophy is I want to get it launched and get the launch part. That's behind me. That's done. Now move on to the next step. But you got to get it launched. You got to get it out there. So I know in session 123 of this podcast, I talked about how to launch or relaunch your business. So I've never listened to it. I don't listen to my own podcast. I can't stand to listen to myself, honestly. So I don't really know what I covered in that session. I just know that was the title. I thought I'd done something on launching in the past. I did find it. It's at MLMsuccess.com/story123. If you're in the middle of launch and you want to check that out too, that would probably be a good idea. So I'm just going to share with you the exact steps that I've taken, the mindset behind it in August, that resulted in us being the number one recruiter in the world, with this company. And then the stronger mind tweak probably is why I really doubt if that would ever happen again. But I know, based upon the momentum and things that we have going on right now, that I could do it again this month. I believe that. Maybe I could. Maybe I'm just talking. Who knows? But I believe that I could. But that's not my goal, because that's not the best move right now to build the foundation for which we're going to build a leadership development machine on. So what I did first, and I think it's important, before I contacted the first person, I spent about 8 or 10 hours consuming all the information I could on the company and the product, because I wanted to be able to communicate with as much conviction as possible. Now, I also was able to, in the first week or so, set up a one-on-one or a group with my top leaders, 3 or 4 or 5 leaders, and the owner of the company, Sergi, and his interpreter. And that helped for sure as far as developing our belief. But I understand that there's 4 beliefs that all of us must have to fulfill our true upside potential with this profession. I get it. I understand it. I've taught it for years. In session 165 of this podcast, I talk about the 4 beliefs. And again, it's just something that I strongly, strongly believe in. And those are beliefs are in the company, the product, the network marketing business model, and yourself. Those are the 4 beliefs. And it was funny, during August one time, I just took a break and I was going on Facebook to respond to someone who had requested information about what we were doing. And I noticed my old buddy, Robert Blackman, who's been around in the industry as long as I have. And I just caught out of the corner of my eye a post he said, and he said, most MLMers quit because they lack belief in their company, their product, the profession, or themselves. And I thought, truth is truth, truth is truth. So I don't usually comment a lot on Facebook. I just don't have time. But I went in real quick and I said, I agree, 4 beliefs. And then I put at Truth is Truth, and I put the link for the podcast I just mentioned. And immediately he responded. He came back and he said, Dale Calvert, thank you, brother. I learned them from you. And I just thought that was cool, because it makes me realize that, there's some things that we've shared over the years that have really gotten internalized with people. And I'm telling you that the 4 beliefs is critical. And I'm not going to get into how we're all made up of opinions, attitudes, and beliefs, and that whole training. That's a whole nother session, but it would probably be worth the time. For some of you, it's over in session 165, the 4 beliefs. So that's what I knew I had to do. Again, I don't talk about that which I practice what I preach. So one night, from about 11 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, I went through every YouTube and every video I could find on Aplgo. Most of it was in Russian, and I didn't understand it. It was not interpreted. But what I was looking at was the people, the owner, his reaction to the people, his communication with the leaders. I was looking at the culture around that company. I was looking at the body language, for lack of a better term, just trying to get a feel for what was going on. Was it a big social club? Was it a big party? Or were they really focused on helping people move forward in their life and create income and change change the trajectory for some people of their family's future. I mean, I was really trying to get a feel for where this guy's coming from, because in my opinion, most company owners today, their only focus is how can we introduce some new little red wagon so we can keep people on auto ship one more month. It's crazy. I mean, you've got some of the hemp CBD oil companies now, they're getting into travel, and they're getting into cryptocurrency, and it's like they're grasping for straws, trying to figure out other products that they can sell and get not to the marketplace, not to the end user, not to the customers, but to their distributors. What can we sell to the distributors? So, and you guys know it. It's with multiple companies. It's everywhere, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I wanted to see that. One thing I love about this product, it's one product. It's just 15 different boxes, but the product is the exact same product. It's just different flavors and has different vitamins and herbs and minerals geared towards different benefits that a person may receive. Ice is one of the products. It's for upset stomach. People have problems with digestion. The ingredients in there are to support healthy digestion, and it's that simple. It's the first and only negative ion drops available anywhere in the world. They have the patents. They do have them on the manufacturing. There is no competition. It cannot be knocked off. It is what it is. So I had to develop a belief in the company, and I went through as much information as I possibly could. That was the first thing. The second was the product. And I want some of you really need to hear this. You really need to hear what I'm getting ready to say. I want you to hear what I'm getting ready to say. And first of all, let me say, I respect the fact that a lot of people feel like they need to have a personal experience with the product. I respect that. I don't agree with it at all. Here's why. I had, not a lot, but I had some people on my team when we were in the weight loss business that were over 100 pounds overweight, that were making $150,000 a year. And this was 20, 30 years ago, when $150,000 was a lot of money. A lot of money. In the weight loss business, over 100 pounds overweight. Are you with me? I just want you to let that thought settle in. So, of course, I wanted to try the products as soon as possible. I knew they were coming. I couldn't wait for them to arrive. But I also understand that my personal results have nothing to do with the product or the opportunity. I'm not the issue. If none of the products work for me, it wouldn't have mattered to me at all. Do they work for the majority of people? Are they effective in the marketplace? It's not about me. It's just not. Well, Dale, if I don't get magnificent results on this product, then I don't think I could ever do this business. Well, you're looking at it the wrong way. You're sincerely looking at it the wrong way. Now, I'm beyond confident that of the 15 products, it's like everybody I've talked to, everybody has different favorites that they like. For me, I take the brain. I've already gone through 4 boxes of the brain. I love it. I eat it like candy all day long. And then at night, I take the Relax, and it helps me sleep. I take 2 of those and sleep like a baby. But all that doesn't really matter, and anybody's personal experience doesn't matter. What's the science say? And I started really doing some research on the science. And then I found the book by Earl Mendel. Actually, our upline found it. Dr. Earl Mendel, many of you have heard that name if you've been around this industry very long. He wrote the Vitamin Bible. One of the most respected authors on vitamin, herbs, nutrition in the world. And he had written a book called The Happiness Effect. And I just went and ordered it on Amazon. But as I was reading the description, I thought, man, this is really interesting. A lot of people know about negative ion bracelets and jewelry, and they have machines that air filtration machines that project negative ions into a room. It's fascinating. It really is. But in the book, the description of the book, it said, imagine a simple force of nature that can provide you with a feeling of well-being, offer a quick rush of energy, allow you to sleep better, relieve asthma and allergies and other respiratory disorders, lower blood pressure. Sound crazy? It does, but it's true. It's something that drug companies cannot sell you. The healing power of negative ions first became known to the public in 1900 when a young engineer named Tesla published an article about the amazing work he had been doing with electricity. And he goes on and on and on, and then he talks about the book. Dr. Earl Mangdale, The Happiness Effect, is a complete guide to understanding and using negative ions to create a sense of well-being. The book begins with a clear explanation of negative ions and goes on into tracing the history of man's interest in nature, the nature of electricity and ions. Readers then learn about the exploratory work performed by scientists after Tesla's breakthrough experiment, and the scientific studies that illustrate the effects of negative ions on human behavior and health. And again, the thing that people say, Dale, what's it done for you? I love the brain. I think it helps me. I like them all. And I think it's like you get a spark plug. It's like my spark plugs have been replaced. That's the only way I know to stay it. I have do have a better sense of well-being. And it's not just because I'm so fired up about the team that we're putting together, but I have an overall better well-being, sense of well-being. I do. So my first thought was, how did I develop belief in the company? The second was the product. The third was obviously the network marketing business model. And I have zero, I don't believe in the network marketing business model as it exists in most companies today. I don't believe in the cultures. I don't believe we're inspiring greatness. I believe companies are trying to appeal to mediocrity and keep people on auto ship one more month and make them part of the social club. For me, network marketing's always been about changing lives, wealth generation, not about, selling, making a few $100 extra bucks here and there on the side. For me, it's never been that, never has been, and never will be. And then the fourth belief is belief in yourself. Well, I have belief in myself. I've always believed if other people have done it, then I can learn how to do it. If average people with average intelligence have done it, then I can outwork all of them, and I can do it too. And that's just kind of where I live. And when it comes to network marketing, and I've said this, and I believe it. I wish I didn't believe it, but I believe that I understand what it takes to build duplicating teams at a level that it just haunts me. It haunts me. I know what needs to be done. It's like right now, I have people that should have already started their launch that haven't. And then I've had people that I've known and been around for several years and have never really launched their business in the past that are going after this harder than they've ever gone after anything. I've got leaders I never really thought would ever really engage again that are really leading and doing a phenomenal job. So, I understand all of it. I understand what it takes. And I understand that if you're going to do this business, you can stack the odds for success in your favor big time by taking the launch process very seriously, very seriously. So if you ask me today, right now, it's like my belief in this product today, sincerely, is a 10. Last night, one of our upline did a whole video where they had different people just come on and talk about the different products and what they had meant for them. And it was phenomenal. Just good, honest, hardworking people, just sharing their personal experience on what the products have meant for them. And it was phenomenal. It was great. And we're going to have that over at candyvitaminsamples.com. So the product, I'm a 10 on the product. I understand the happiness effect. I understand what Dr. Earl Mandel, who I respect, has said. But I've also said many times over the years, stop reading the Vitamin Bible, stop reading books on herbs, and start reading books on leadership, because we're in the leadership development business. The product is important. You have to have a great product that provides value to the end customer, the end consumer. But the products don't build businesses. There's been many companies that have come and gone in this profession, have had fabulous products that are no longer in business. Why? Because it takes more than that. The product is just one of the stars, but you have to have multiple stars line up to really, really have something that's worth dreaming big with. Really, really dreaming big. Your biggest dreams. It just doesn't come along very often. Yes, there's been great companies that have great compensation plans, but the product stunk, and on and on and on. So right now, 10 on the product. In the company, I would say probably in the last 10, 15 years, there's very few companies that got much past a 6 on my scale, the way I look at things. Very few got to a 6. Most would be around a 5 if I'm working with them one-on-one, a lot of 3s and 4s. In other words, they could be doing a whole lot more, a whole lot better. But my belief in this company, I believe it will be one day a 10. It's not now. I would say, honestly, it's a 7. It's a 7. And it's because I've had some interaction now with the owner. He's an ambitious 30-something-year-old guy that started in the field when he was 17 years old. I watch him. I look at his body language. I listen to what he says. There's no owner that I've ever met that would have the guts to get on a call with the United States leadership team that has just started and to say that my goal is to have 20 people in this company on stage. He said, my vision is 20 people in this company on stage, each holding $1 million check over their head, and that they've all made $1 million. They're all making $1 million a month, and mean it, because he knows he has the product. He knows he has the compensation plan where that is a possibility. His goal is to have more millionaires in Aplgo than any company ever in the history of network marketing. And I don't know about you, but I can get excited about that. Somebody that has that type of guts and that type of vision and understands that there's a lot more to this business model than making a few hundred extra dollars on the side. This is not a little side gig deal. It's not. It's about changing families, the trajectories of families forever. And I appreciate that, and because I know he's not just blowing smoke. He comes from a point of conviction that I recognize, and I know the guy's telling the truth, and I'm looking at him in his eyes, and I know he believes what he's saying. And again, I know he's sincere. I don't mistake sincerity with truth, though, because some people are sincerely wrong. But when you look at, again, all the stars, and you look at the leadership of this kid, it's like, man, I can get excited about that. I sincerely can. So when it comes to network marketing, I have very little belief in network marketing, honestly, the way it's been done the last 10, 15 years. But under these conditions, my belief in what we're doing as a team and our culture and the leadership development culture that will be developed and is being developed right now, and the people that we're attracting, the quality of people that we're attracting, the track record of people that we're attracting. My belief right now, as it relates to what we're doing personally with this network marketing organization and culture and team, it's 11. It's an 11. It's off the chart. And then my belief in myself as a 10. So where's your belief? Where are your 4 beliefs? Right now, just go through mentally. Where are you, wherever you are? Where is your belief with the products? And be truthful to thy own self. Be true. Where are you with the products? Where are you with the company? Where are you with the network marketing business model? And where are you with yourself? Because you have to have those 4 beliefs. And again, I get into major detail in that other podcast, understanding the whole concept of what is a belief. What's the difference between an opinion and a belief? What's the difference between an attitude and an opinion, or an attitude and a belief? So if you struggle with belief, there's a lot of people that make emotional decisions to get involved in network marketing, and they try to justify those decisions based upon facts. And what they find a lot of times is once they land wherever they land, and once they start looking at the facts, that the facts are not there to back up their attitudes or their beliefs in what they're doing. So belief is never really developed because it doesn't have a factual foundation on which to build. Does that make sense? There's a lot of really good people that are involved in really average companies. There just is. And they want to have belief, and they love the people, and they love their upline, downline, sideline. They like the company owners, but the facts are not there to back up to develop the belief that needs to be developed for them to truly maximize their upside potential with their opportunity. And when people get in that situation, it's very hard and it's very gut wrenching to make the pivot. And I've talked to several people that have done that, and I'm excited to have them with us, but they had to make the decision to pivot. And I get it. I understand it. I've been there. I was making $25,000 a month whether I walked out of my house or not years ago, and made the decision to start all over with a brand new company, brand new product, ground floor. And my wife and parents and everybody thought I was crazy. And when I got my first check, it was $697 or something like that, less than $700. And they all knew I was crazy. But I told them then, if it goes, it'll set me up for the rest of my life. And if it doesn't, I've got the skill sets and the mindsets. I'll go do it somewhere else. So it is what it is. It is what it is. And very few people have the guts to break out of the tribe in which they landed. And I respect loyalty, but sometimes loyalty can cause you to make very unwise business decisions. So where are you with your 4 beliefs? Are you okay there? Do you need to work on them? What should you do? Who's responsible for developing your beliefs? I didn't wait for my belief to just happen. I was actively working on developing my belief. That's why I went through 6, 7, 8 hours of Russian videos in one night, from 10 in the morning to 10 at night, 11 at night to 6 in the morning, because I needed to get my belief to where I needed it to be, so I could communicate in the marketplace with conviction. So after I got my beliefs, at least a good attitude about the company, the product, I knew what I was going to develop, a leadership development machine with the culture that we're putting together, and I knew I could do it. So it was time to launch. So the next thing you have to ask yourself, okay, we're going to launch. What's going to be our play 1 and our play 2? And again, play 1, play 2 is another foreign concept in network marketing. It blows my mind how people can recruit somebody into a program and not have a play 1, play 2 established that they could start sharing the product, sharing the opportunity. It's amazing to me that's like a foreign concept. Now, I know those of you that are members of the training club, those of you that listen to this podcast, you understand totally what play 1, play 2 is. So the decision I had to make was, do I want to separate them or do I want to put them together? And because it's a launch in the United States and nobody's heard of it, and it's ground floor, and most of our market in the beginning during the launch stage is going to be looking for people with experience, people that have experience building teams, but maybe are not happy with their monthly progression in the program that they're working. Maybe they've stagnated, they're frustrated. They're thinking about making a change, which a lot more people are than I realized. I mean, I've been amazed at the people that, have been with the company 2, 3, 4 years and they're realizing, hey, this is tapped out. The company's tapped out. I'm not growing every month. My checks going backwards that, are very open. So it's been phenomenal from that standpoint as far as finding some really, really good experienced people that, have big dreams and they need a company that will, and an opportunity that has big dream potential. So it's been really good from that standpoint. So I knew I had to have a play 1, play 2. And the decision was, I'm just going to combine them. I'm going to put a little 3-minute, 4-minute video at the top of the page. I think it's going to attract people's attention that are maybe a little bit frustrated or stagnant and are thinking about making a pivot. I think the fact that it's, hey, this is huge, it's big, it's proven, we're launching in the USA, and in North America, Canada, Australia, Mexico, get your questions answered, and then putting a more detailed comp plan video at the bottom of the page for people that have a little bit of experience in this profession. I just thought, well, I'm going to combine them, and that's what we did. So that's how I launched. I launched sending people to that website, aplgousa.com. And we're paying staff member that when somebody joins our team at any level, we're setting up a similar site for them, aplgousa/Seattle, if their person's in Seattle, or wherever they are. Right now, during this launch, we won't be able to do this forever, but, as new people come on, we're making sure they have their play 1, play 2 ready. We can get it to them in 24, 48 hours. So that's my plan. This is how I'm going to launch. I'm going to make sure when people do join, we're going to be able to get them be able to launch quickly. And we went after it. So I'm asking myself all during this time is, what is the customer acquisition retail to recruit system going to be? I didn't have it in place, but my thinking time each day, and I do schedule thinking time. I know that's weird, but I sincerely schedule thinking time. My thinking time each day was centered around what's the retail to recruit going to be. Now, I wasn't worried about having it in place during the launch, because the launch is getting in front of as many experienced marketers as you can and understanding that those that are not satisfied that 3 or 4 minute video is going to get their attention. And if it doesn't, then they're probably not somebody that I would really want to work with anyway, honestly. So that's the whole thought process. I knew that I had to solidify the retail to recruit system, but again, I wasn't spending a lot of time on that, just thinking about it and thinking about the flow. But my activity every single day is getting through as many people as I possibly can. And I went through 7 steps. The first step was I shared it with past team members and people that I've worked with in the past, because I want to give them first option. They've been good, loyal people. A lot of people Don and I really deeply care about, know their families, know their backgrounds, and we've worked with in the past. And so those are the people we talk with first. And then the next thing I did was I contacted everyone in my cell phone. It took me about a day and a half to get through it. But I looked at each person and I thought, okay, do they have an entrepreneurial spirit? Are they business owners? Are they involved in network marketing in the past? Are they my Aunt Betty? And the Aunt Bettys in my life, I let them know about the product. It was coming. I was going to send them some information. The business people, I sent them to aplgousa.com. 3-minute video at the top, comp plan at the bottom. Real simple, guys. This is not rocket science. It's not. It's just real simple, and it's real simple. So many people wait for all the lights to turn green before they get in their car and try to go anywhere. No, you got to run. You got to get this airplane off the ground. So that was a real simple process. Then I made a list of 80 people that I wanted to work with. I contacted them, did a video for them, sent it out. And all the video did was send them to the website. the fourth thing we did is I developed a real quick, timely LinkedIn message. I call it a hit and run message. And these are people I don't know, but I know they're involved in network marketing. And just send a real quick message, 2-sentence. And if they want to know more, I didn't ask them, could I please send you information about the new company that we are launching? No, I said something like, I'm working with an 8-year-old European company, helping them launch in the United States. If you know anybody that's looking, have them check out the 3-minute video here, aplgousa.com. And then I said, currently we're only looking for leaders. It was something like that. That's close to what it was. And if I'm in a stop sign or a stoplight, I could pull up any company, boom, 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 send out 2 or 3 messages. Last night, Dawn and I took Taylor, her daughter, and her boyfriend out to eat. And while we're sitting there waiting to be seated, waiting for them to come so we could be seated, I got my phone out and I sent out, 7, 8 LinkedIn messages real quick while I'm sitting there waiting. It's in my downtime when I really can't be doing any other focused work. And my goal is to do 20 of those a day. And I've done it from the beginning, either through Facebook or LinkedIn. So I had that message. And again, many of our team members know exactly what it is. They're doing the same. So that's in my down activity, the LinkedIn hit and run message. The other thing that I did during this is I had a real serious talk with Dawn. Dawn and I sat down and I said, look, you know me, you know my background. My goal is to, in 5 years, double what we did in 5 years with New Image International, which was our biggest run in this profession. And I believe we can do it. But we're going to have to, we're getting ready to introduce the $5 letter. And I explained to her what I was thinking about there and the amount of stress and work and time it was going to require for a lot of it on her and me. And, we talked about our other businesses that we have and some of the e-commerce businesses. And do we need to sell them? Do we need to bring on partners? And we had the best conversation that we could before the launch started. The best. Again, not knowing what was getting ready to happen. I mean, we didn't know. I didn't say, honey, look, I'm getting ready to be the number 1 recruiter in the world in this company this month. So we have to plan for this. Of course, that didn't happen. We didn't know. We had no idea what was going to happen. But I had that conversation. And I think when you get really serious about a business, I think it's a really good idea to have that talk with your spouse. And if you have kids, with your family, mom's going to be taking a lot more phone calls. She's going to be on the phone. You guys are going to have to, be quiet or whatever, but you have to prepare your family. And, if you have a negative spouse, just ask them to please be neutral. Please be neutral for 90 days. If they will let you be neutral for 90 days and you plug in and do what we share with you to do, they're going to be happy in 90 days. 90 days, not 3 years, 90 days. And, when I had young kids at home, when I was building, they knew if Dad went and snapped those fingers, it was everybody stop immediately. So you got to set up some ground rules with your spouse, with your kids, have a heart-to-heart talk. Because, again, this is one of those opportunities that's worth the heart-to-heart talk, and I think it's important. Then I went all in on this podcast, and I had one guy all over me. Probably, if you said, Dale, who's the one person that you would never get flack from, that you've ever communicated with, he would probably be in the top 5, and just throwing me under the bus. And I've had a few others, some hate emails and so on and so forth. But it's like, guys, I've given out more free content than anybody walking the planet. Hours of webinars, hundreds of hours of podcasts and webinars in the last 5 years. And, COVID hit. I'm not going to be doing 2 events a month. speaking gigs a month. The greatest opportunity I've ever seen in my lifetime dropped in my lap. Best comp plan, unbelievable category creating product. And because I decided to make that move, then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy here. Don't understand it. I don't care. Bottom line, your friends don't need an explanation and your enemies aren't going to believe you anyway. So that's all I need to say about that. But I went all in on this podcast. Hadn't really planned on it, but it was the only way I could continue to do it. And I really wanted to get to at least 200 sessions. So I just went all in. And a lot of you have said, Dale, this blah, 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 what you're thinking, how you're doing it. A lot of what you've shared based upon the other information I've heard, it's made sense and it's helped me. And that's cool. That's all I really ever want to do. And people don't understand. Well, I'm not going to go down that road, but, I have a group of people, because I went all in on this podcast, I have a group of people that have listened to this podcast and have joined us. And I look forward to working with them. I really do, because I know they understand. They've listened consistently. They understand the philosophy. They understand where I live, what I believe, and they're excited about it. And I'm excited about working with them. I mean, Dr. C down in Florida, and Dan and his sister up in Canada, Alan, in California, Beth in California, and many others, and I'm excited because a lot of these people, a lot of the people that have contacted me that have come through the podcast, I didn't know if one or two or anybody would, and it didn't really matter to me one way or the other. But I like the people that come through the podcast because they understand what they're signing up for. They understand that what I believe, that this is not about an extra few $100s a month. This is about leadership development. It's about stepping up and really, really building something of significance. So I'm excited about that. And I'm glad I went all in. Then number 7 has been more of mental focus for me as far as really preparing myself to go all in. And I'm all in as I can be right now, but I got a little bit more ways to go. Not all in, but I am all in at the level that I possibly can be based upon a lot of other responsibilities and things. But I'm hitting it, and I'm hitting as hard as I can. And when I say my goal is to double what we did in 5 years, I mean it. I mean, that's all I'm thinking about, because this can do it. This can do it. And, I know I have to be willing to have some real hard conversations with some team members. I'm preparing for the disappointments of the 3%ers that are going to come. I mean, there's going to be, somebody told me yesterday, said, Dale, this is going to create NSA money, and it's going to create NSA 3%ers are going to be jumping all on this program. And he's right. But I also said, look, if you ever really looked at the NSA compensation plan and you compare it to this, I mean, NSA couldn't hold a candle to what this can do from an income standpoint. But you're right. It's going to create a lot of full-time income earners. It will attract people, not maybe in the first couple of years, but 3 years from now, it'll attract a lot of traditional business owners that have never been involved in network marketing, because the incomes will be so astronomical. I mean, that's ultimately what it did for NSA. I mean, it was a 3 or 4 year run with a lot of network marketers that mostly came from USA Vitamin and Herbalife, built NSA up. And then once the obnoxious incomes were being created, then it started attracting more traditional business people. And I believe that's going to happen here as well. So I think they were right from that standpoint. But the incomes that can be generated here with this compensation plan and this product, it's a whole lot different than what we experienced, some of us, in the past. But you're right. There's going to be a lot of 3%ers that are going to come, and, there's going to be a lot of Elvises and people with transferable skills. And I know it's all coming, and I just have to prepare for it. And the way I do that is by building the most solid unified team that I possibly can that has a focus on not bringing in a lot of people with transferable skills, even though those people will be welcome, but focusing on developing well-trained leaders, internal leaders, homegrown leaders. So again, I understand because that's something that I don't like dealing with, but I'm going to have to because it is coming, and I understand that. I also have to understand and deal with the fact that the start stops most people. The start stops most people. And I've had several people that have joined that honestly, I thought, man, y'all, some of you heard me talk about the beautiful horse lines up in the gate for the race, and then the gate opens and the horse just stands in the gate. The horse does not run. The horse looks good, talks good, acts good, but I never know who it's going to be. And I've had some right now, and I'm still hoping that some of them will decide to run. And I'm going to have some heart-to-heart conversations with some of them, probably uncomfortable conversations. But it's like there's people that we have right now that I thought would be halfway around the track at this point that hadn't got out of the gate yet. So I got to figure out why and what. And again, I understand that the start stops most people. The start stops most people. So I got to try to help them get out of the gate and get lined up, and let's open this gate and let's run. Or, I'm going to have some conversations, and I'll have many, 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 many more. But that's my responsibility. That's my responsibility to that individual, and not all individuals. And some I will talk to, and I've made it as clear as I possibly can to everybody on our team. If you need to talk, we'll talk. Yes, I'm going 1,000,000 miles a minute. Yes, I'm booked. Yes, I have major projects that we're working on, especially with this $5 letter system. And we got a lot of stuff going on, and it's just crazy. But you got my call calendar, and I don't miss calls on my call calendar. So, I'm doing the best I can under the circumstances, understanding it's going to get it's going to be a while before it gets easier. And I understand that. So I have to prepare for that mentally, because Dawn and I have a, really nice, comfortable lifestyle, and we head to Kentucky when we want to go to Kentucky, or we do what we want to do. And it's like, that's why I had to have the conversation with her. So again, I've prepared myself emotionally, mentally, psychologically for this run like I've never have ever. And I'm just going to have to deal with the way things are. I understand the only person I can control is the one staring me back in the mirror, just as the only person you control is the one staring you back in the mirror. I understand that the action takers are the money makers, even if the action they're doing is terrible. If you take enough action consistently enough, long enough, you're going to make money, and especially with the right program. But I also understand that some people just cannot take action. They just can't. They analyze till they're paralyzed. And I get that as well. So I went all in, and I have no doubt that I have personally contacted more people. You can take any 20 people in this company, line them up, 20 people, anywhere in the world. Look at how many people they contacted in August. 20. I contacted more than any 20 people you can put together. I know I did. I know how to do it. I know what to do. And most didn't look, and most, it took 3 messages. But I've asked people, look, are you ignoring me? Because here's my thought. They're going to see the 3-minute video if I know them. If I know them, I know their work ethic, I know their character. I've worked with them in the past, or we've communicated in the past. And they were on my list of 80. And I missed a ton of people that should have been on there, but I'm sorry. I missed a lot. But I just put it again. Speed. It's speed. I'm not analyzing. I'm speed. And I know I missed some. But if they're on that list, they're going to see the 3-minute video, because I owe that to them. I'm going to win without them. I don't need them. I'm going to win with or without them. But I understand speed. Get through the numbers. And I owe it to them that they at least know what they're saying no to. And I told people, please just tell me you've seen the 3-minute video. You have no curiosity and you have no interest, and we're good. We're good. I keep on going. I just want to not have to think about you right now. So we went all in. My focus has been in the right place, extremely value focused, because I just, again, been in the game long enough to know when the stars line up. And I've dealt with a lot of false pride, more than I had anticipated. It's been comical, honestly. People that 4, 5, 6 months ago were complaining about me to me about their check dropping, or, the company's not doing this. And, here we are, we're this type of company, and they're introducing all these other products that don't have any relationship to the products that we sell, just so the company can sell to distributors, and they're complaining and griping. And now, they're very satisfied where they're at. It's funny. It really is. And I've dealt with not a lot, but some people that are just too loyal for their own good. Their working programs are over. They're gone. The ship has sailed. And it is, and it's obvious to everyone except them. And they're just so loyal. And I appreciate that and I respect that, but it's like, why are you really here? Why are you really here? Do you want to it's going to take the same amount of work. Do you want to maximize your return on the work that you're putting in? And then I've, dealt with people that just want to argue about things that mean nothing. They don't talk about the comp plan. They don't talk about the product. They don't talk about negative ions. They're worried about, how many, shipping facilities are they going to have in the United States, or just crazy stuff, just from the air that has nothing to do with the opportunity that's in front of them. It's been unbelievable. And it's like, look, I don't know. I don't care if they have if they put another shipping facility in the United States. They have one. I got my product in a week. If they can get product to us in a week, we're good. We're good. I don't care. And again, just people that tend to have the unbelievable ability to major in the minors. It's crazy. So I've also had really good conversations with those that retired. Some that I've worked with in the past, they're enjoying life. They made a good decision. They understood years ago that until you're in a situation where you don't need the check from your company, you have not made it. They've invested well into income generating assets. Many of you have heard me talk about that in the past as well. They're doing awesome. They're enjoying life. They're enjoying their grandkids, some of them great grandkids. And I respect that. They don't want to get on the court again and play. They don't want to get on the court again and play. And I respect that. To me, I love to play the game if the game is winnable. And I really love to play the game if you can win it all, when you can win it all. And so some people don't. Some people played the game so they could stop playing the game and do other things. And I respect that. So I'm good with all those people. But, those were the 7 steps that I took to get this launch. And as previously mentioned, I had no idea we would be recognized as the number one recruiter in the world. But shortly after Boris contacted me and let me know he's on the European call, then right after that, Curry called, and he's all excited to give me the news. And honestly, he was more excited than I was, and his response, or my response to him was, I said, look, that's awesome. But you know what, Curry? It's not about getting them in. It's not about getting them in. Yeah, we had a great recruiting month. Awesome. I worked my butt off. I was after it. But it's not about getting them in. It's about getting them in, keeping them in, and helping them move forward. See, that's more important. And, throughout the day, as the word got out, my email box and social media accounts. People were sending congratulations, and all of you that may have done that that are listening, I sincerely, Dawn and I appreciate that. Then I started getting friend requests from people in Russia and other countries. I assume that are part of the company. It was like I went in and it's like all these friend requests from Russia and different parts of the world. And then they had the North American president's meeting for North America, and they went through and they put up the slide where we could actually read our names, and then my social media and everything really blew up, and I appreciated it, and I do. But the other thing that I want to mention, just to end this up, the last few minutes, because I think I can really drive home a point that will be very beneficial to everyone that ever hears this, because it's so important. We had hundreds of congratulations from different people, most of which we knew, many of which we didn't. But we were also, Dawn and I were also recognized as number one in the world for the highest reorder rate on our team in August. So we were recognized with the highest reorder rate in the world, number one, and also number one for recruiting. Not one person mentioned the reorder rate. Now, don't misunderstand me here. I'm not disappointed in that at all. I mean, I appreciate all those that took time, energy, and effort to send us a message. But in my mind, the reorder rate is more significant for the long term of what we're doing and the culture we're building as an organization. The reorder rate is more important it means more to me personally than being the number one recruiter in the world, because I know how to recruit. Get through the numbers, do more numbers. Jim Rohn taught me years ago, make up in numbers what you lack in skill. That's how you win that. It's not that difficult. Anybody could have done it. Anybody could have done it. Make up in numbers what you lack in skill. So anyway, but the reorder rate was significant because it's an indication that we're starting to help people not just sign up, and a lot of people were smart, I'm sure. They said, Dale's excited. I haven't heard him like this. He's going to blow this up. I want to get in because of the comp plan and get locked in and hold a position, because I know he's going to build a army under that position. So I need to get in and get positioned as quickly as possible. And I'm sure there's many people that decided that and made a business move, and I'll figure out who they are. I'm trying to go back and communicate with as many people as I can. But it tells me that it was more than that some people experienced the product, enjoyed it, and reordered product. It tells me that some people got in. The comp plan is the most difficult to understand that I have ever seen. It's not simple. It's extremely lucrative. It's the most lucrative I've ever seen, but it takes a while to really understand it. And I think as people started understanding the comp plan more, they understood the value of getting them self-positioned at the highest commission levels that they could. So I think that a lot of that plays into that. But again, as I told Curry, it's not just about getting them in. It's about getting them in, keeping them in, and helping them move forward. So this month, I have several follow-ups with people. I'm not going to contact any more new people this month. I'm not. That's not my intention this month. So again, if you're waiting on me to call, you better contact me like now. And some of you have been on the fence. I just need to say this just so I can put a little salt in the wounds. And I didn't mean that in the way it was intended, but I had one guy that was supposed to have joined me 4 weeks ago. And this came up, and then that came up. And he's a friend. I love the guy. He's like a brother to me. And then this happened with his wife. And it's just all these excuses. Look, it takes 10 minutes. Join. And that's the way I can talk to him. It's like talking to my brother. And finally, I just said, look, when you're off the pain medications or whatever's been your problem, give me a call. I never heard anything else. I said, well, probably made him mad. He'll be mad at me for a while. And then I got thinking about him again the other night. And I just, man, this guy, I think we got connected a few years ago for a reason. I just like this guy. And, he's just a, strong thinker. He's a deep thinker. And finally, I took the screenshot of the number one recruiter stat that they'd put up in the U.S. And I sent him the screenshot of that. And I said, it's hard to say how many tens of thousands of dollars in volume you've missed out on by procrastinating. Well, that got him to call. And he joined, almost within 24 hours after that. But so my point is, if you're procrastinating, don't procrastinate. Because I know some of you listening, you've been lurking. I know you are. And again, I believe if you're supposed to be here. And if you are, get here quickly. You're losing every day that you're not here. So anyway, so this month I got a lot of people that I need to follow up with, get them knocked off the fence one way or the other. I'm not going to spend a lot of time personally recruiting except, in the people that I have to follow up with, and I need to make sure they've seen the 3-minute video. And it'll probably be a while before I go on and another recruiting campaign. I might do a 90-day run, and I don't know. We have to see how all this plays out. But again, I know some of you have been waiting for me to call you. If I was you, I would get to the website and get that form filled out as quickly as possible. But if people are on the fence, I have to make sure that the people I've already made contact with, I've already made that commitment to them. It's my responsibility to make sure they see the 3-minute video and knock them off the fence, get their questions answered, any concerns they might have or whatever. So that's where I'm at. And this month, the move is to really focus on making sure that those that plan on launching their business get it launched successfully and get through the numbers. And again, some people, they've heard me talk about launch your business like it's some kind of joke or it's some type of, no, it's true. It's real. It's what we do. It's not just something to give Dale something to talk about. So, I want to keep my call calendar open so I can continue to talk to experienced network marketers that have comp plan questions or whatever. So when my people contact their chicken list and people say, hey, I'd like to learn more, and they can put in maybe they've only been around a few years and they're talking to somebody that's been around 25, 30 years, which has happened quite often, then I can get on the phone with these people and can communicate with them and see if it's a fit. So I want to keep that call calendar open as much as I possibly can. I have to really focus as much as possible, and I've got to find the time to do this because I'm responding to dozens and dozens of emails and phone calls and stuff every day, plus my call calendar. But I've got to refine our customer acquisition system, the logistics of that. I mentioned that earlier, I think, the $5 letter, because that's going to create millions and millions of dollars in customer volume for our team members. I know it's going to, but we have to refine a few things. I got to make sure that those that are in are aware enough and understand, look, you've been here 3 days and you haven't sent in your information so we can set up for you free your Play 1, Play 2 website. What's the hold up here? What's the hold up? Long term down the road, we're going to dominate the search engines because of the strategy we're implementing right now. We're going to dominate the search engines for our team members. Like right now, if you go to Aplgo Seattle, number 1 on Google, not the front page of Google, the number 1 position in Google is John and Cindy out in Seattle. If you go to Aplgo Miami, the number one on the first page of Google in the top 3 or 4 is Daphne down in Miami. If you go Aplgo Georgia, it's Dr. T and Doug here in Georgia. I want every city covered throughout the United States and in search engines, because that position is going to become more and more and more valuable as time goes on. So again, I'm just trying to share with you guys this little brain dump here, where I'm at and what I'm thinking, because I think sometimes we get into a mode when you're a great recruiter, you just want to keep on recruiting and keep on recruiting and keep on recruiting. And I understand that. And yes, selfishly, I would just like to stay in a massive recruiting campaign, stay in that rhythm. But I know I have to make the shift to make sure that the foundations are in place for the leadership development machine that we're going to build here. My best 5-year run in network marketing was from 0 to $100 million in sales in 5 years, with 200 six-figure earners on my personal team and 3 millionaires. And my goal is simply to double those numbers. I mean, in 5 years, I want to have 500 full-time earners and 10 millionaires on our team. And I want to do it in the next 5 years. I'm committed to a 5-year run, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, committing myself to that. And I know, when I say that, it sounds like, well, I thought Dale was smart. That sounds like something some naive newbie would have. Some naive newbie would say, well, I'm going to have 10 millionaires on my team in the next 5 years. And we've all heard people spout that kind of stuff and no idea in the world how to make that happen. I know how to make it happen. I know what has to line up. I know what has to happen. I understand unified duplicatable systems. I understand when you separate yourself from the masses, when unity creates separation. I get all this. I understand it. I've been down this road. And for the first time since that happened, the stars have lined up, honestly, in a way that I've never seen them line up with any other company. So yeah, you can say, well, Dale's going to fall flat on his face, blah, blah, blah. Well, see, I got the guts to say it publicly on this podcast because I sincerely believe that's what's getting ready to happen. So I'm not scared to say it. I shouldn't be. So I hope the real world examples that we've shared with people through this podcast and the 7 steps to get it launched. I hope, if you need to launch, I hope that's helped you. If you need to relaunch your business, I hope that's helped you. And understanding that, just because you're a good recruiter does not mean you need to stay in a recruiting mode, that you've got to have the systems in place. You've got to make sure your people have a play 1, play 2. You got to have a retail to recruit system. Everything I've been talking about for years and years, all that has to be in play. And that's what we're doing. We're practicing what we preach, and more fired up than we've been about building a team in years and years and years. So, if you're dissatisfied with the monthly progression you're making or whatever, and you've been thinking, well, I might be a good fit for that team, that launch team that Dale's putting together, don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate, guys. Go to aplgousa.com and do it right now. Don't procrastinate. If you love where you're at and you're progressing and you're moving forward and you have people on your team that need to relaunch their business, check out the webinar we did on that subject. You can go to mlmsuccesswebinar.com and we have the podcast on there. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you some value and some insights. We'll be back at least one more week with another session. I really don't know where I'm going to go from this point. I really don't have no plans. I have too many other things I need to think about, and I can't spend thinking time on this podcast, about this podcast. But I will be back next week. So until next week, God bless you guys. This is Dale Calvert. We'll talk to you next week on another session of the MLMsuccess.com podcast. And if you are part of our team and you have not launched, what are you waiting for? Break out. If you need help, let me know. You know that. That's where we are right now, guys. I'm going 1,000,000 miles a minute. I don't have time to. I just got to figure out who's ready to run. That's all I'm looking for right now. As you should be when you launch any business. We'll talk to you next week, guys.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.